Cincinnati fiber artist Cynthia Lockhart. Her vibrant creations are infused with a kaleidoscope of colors, shapes, and textures.
Ellen and Ann from the Taft called me up one day and said we'd be interested in coming over to look at your artwork. The Taft is interested in you. So I prepared the visit for them. They came by, they looked at my artwork in the house, visited my studio, and then probably about a month later I get a call and with an invitation to do a show. Obviously the title of the show and the design and depicting of the show was up to me to come up with, and so that journey to be associated with the Taft started. Journey to Freedom is a quilt that I did years ago, but it's really at the heart of a story that I believe in. I believe in a story of people who were slaves, of people who were brought to this country unbeknownst to what would happen to them, left their history, came here, and over a series of 400 years became a vibrant and exciting part of this America. Within my work, I build a story. I research the project, I read up on, I will look up the history of it and read several adaptations, books and what have you, maybe even look at a movie, and then I start putting that together in terms of sketching. And so I come up with the images that resonate in me, that are strong, that are powerful, and I get a nudge and it's like, okay, this is what you do, this is what you put together. And I begin to put the colors together for the mood that I'm creating within the artwork. And I will either make the fabric. I've done something called fabrication, where I'm literally putting tiny little pieces, bits and pieces, like a collage, to create a very dynamic look. Or I will dye the fabric, or I'll do symbols, and I'll silk screen as well. I am so impressed with the story that the Taft has with Robert Duncanson. I'm very proud of the history of the Taft, being able to embrace an African-American artist and also being involved in abolitionist movement, and the integrity of the Taft to still continue to have a program in place that will support the African-American community with their Duncanson. Again, I had to research the Duncanson murals, and you have to select a piece of art in the Taft. And I looked vigorously for many things, and I was attracted to many things, but you had to narrow it down. So in looking at Duncanson's work, he does a phenomenal depiction of this environment that just looks like a place that you want to be, that you could just walk into this place. And so that's critical for an artist, that the viewer actually can feel that. And then he did something very whimsical, was to put a Trompe l'oeil frame around the artwork, and I thought that resonated with me. That's sort of playing tricks with things. I can be a trickster with my artwork. So I said, with that whimsy and with that those beautiful color muted tones that he used, I could work with that. So what I decided when I started sketching is that in Duncanson's murals, I found an area where I felt a slave could have passed through one of his murals. Therefore, I decided to have a runaway slave passing through the image, the inspiration of the Duncanson.
Swing low, sweet chariot.
The title of it is Runaway, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, which is an African-American hymn which depicts and guides the travelers to freedom. So it was a song that was invented to give them instructions of where they would go to seek freedom. And so with that, then I said, okay, now I have to come up with some type of whimsy and some type of flight. And I did that by using a figure that almost was like a camouflage figure that is escaping through the fields. And again, above him, there are the three faces that are singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. I also created some orbs. So the orb structures are just the round circles that you see in the work are representative of travelers, representative of people who are no longer with us. But it's a way to remember them, the circles. So inside the circle is always a prayer, it's always an aspiration, and so the orbs surround the slave as the slave runs towards freedom. What's always in my work is the attitude of hope and joy and unlimited possibilities of being able to be free and to be yourself. Freedom is a very precious thing. And as a part of the show, I said, whoa, I took on a big task. This is my perspective about freedom, journey to freedom depicted through my ancestors. What does everybody else feel about freedom? And lots of writing talking about freedom, lots of writing. And then it dawned on me that what do people think about freedom? It's a huge subject. It's one of the most important subjects that we have, our individual rights as human beings to be free, to be treated free and equally.
Free.